Another example that they gave, just to say, I mean, how happy would you be if you were able to get this type of result? Let's look at CitizenM Hotels. How happy would you be if you had an average occupancy rate of 90%? Now, to put this in perspective, that 90% occupancy rate is 80% higher than the industry average. They've also reduced staffing costs by 50% below the industry average. Well, how did they do that? By needing half the people. They also reduced the room size by 50%. Now, some people may say that, why would you make a room smaller? Do people really want that? Well, what they did instead was to be able to have a 50% smaller room, they looked at having high-end beds, the finest sheets, fluffy towels, rooms that were really quiet, free internet, use of local caterers to provide and sell the food instead of having their own restaurant in-house. They'd find people within blocks that sold food and had them selling food within the hotel so they didn't have to do it themselves. They even outsourced housekeeping. Now, additionally, they've actually gone into pre-manufactured rooms. The lower floors are actually built as any other hotel is, but they are actually, the rest of the hotel rooms themselves are all prefab. They come completely assembled, all the electric, all the wiring, all the essentials are there so they can go together. What that does for them is it reduced the cost of building a hotel by 35% and also reduced the construction time of a new hotel by 35 to 50%. Impressive. Now, we look at this, and this all happened within 10 years. So in 2007, and they set out to open a new value frontier. They interviewed frequent travelers of 3-star hotels and of 5-star hotels to determine what the reason was people stayed or picked one over the other. They didn't open their first location in Amsterdam till 2008. So here's the thought process. They interviewed frequent travelers. They interviewed both the 5-star and the 3-star people that stayed at both of them. And, they started with the 5-star, and to their surprise, people didn't stay because they had bellhops. They didn't stay there because they had doormen. They didn't stay there because the front desk was nicer or better. They didn't stay there because there was a concierge. They didn't stay there because hotel restaurants. They didn't stay there because of room service, and they definitely didn't stay there for internet and phones because most high-end hotels actually charge for those. So when you look at all these things, most of those items that the 5-star hotels provide, people wish they didn't have. The primary reason they pick 5-star hotels is they have great locations, they have great beds, great sheets, quiet, and they have a great shower. So when they looked at people staying at 3-star hotels, the reason they picked 3-star hotels is price. And they also picked it because some of the 5-star hotels felt a little too hoity-toity. They didn't like the feel. Some people don't feel welcome in a 5-star hotel because it just has a stuffy feeling. But looking at it, they thought, what if we added all the things that people liked in a 5-star hotel and got rid of what they didn't like? Adding luxury and beauty. Well, part of the things on a 3-star hotel that people didn't like about 3-star hotels is they didn't have luxury or they weren't beautiful. They felt a little institutional and they weren't inspiring, but the locations weren't as good. So the primary things people look for from the 5-star hotels really came down to just a few items. Number 1, location. 2, they had a great bed, high quality sheets. The rooms were quiet and a great shower. So that knowledge provided CitizenM with the ability to eliminate the front desk and develop a check-in that's similar to ATM machines with only one person in there to answer questions. It was just brilliant the way they did that to really simplify the process and really looked at things that challenge the industry norm. So they've done a great job with that and found out a lot of things that 5-star hotels are doing people really don't want anyways. And that's why their occupancy rate is as high as it is. And they're able to have less staffing and be more profitable because their real estate costs are less, because they have smaller rooms. They can fit more rooms into the same amount of space. CitizenM Hotels is definitely an example that everyone should follow.